We'll welcome Michael here. Known Michael for quite some time now, probably 7 to 10 years now. He first came to the club, was raising capital, and had a great success with buying a business and then scaling it massively over 3.5 years to a 9-figure exit. So we're going to talk about his experiences with growing multiple businesses, with multiple 7, 8, 9-figure exits across 3 different businesses, and just insights along the way. He is now a managing partner of Growth Sync Capital Partners. And he is aiming at acquiring and investing in baby boomer businesses and helping enable their growth through AI plus everything he's learned the last 30 plus years in business. So, Michael, what else would you add about your background that I missed maybe?
I'd say, my background mostly falls in 2 core categories. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've been building businesses since 23 and then investing. So started out public investing through my wealth management business, but then that later evolved after meeting Family Office Club to essentially purely private investing. So it's really the intersection of entrepreneurism and private investing.
Got it. And so if you take us back a bit, what were the key strategic moves that enabled you to have the $100 million plus exit with Nature's Remedy?
So I think to be able to pull off an exit like that, a couple things have to exist. Number one, there has to be a market opportunity, right? Where consumers are wanting to spend their dollars for a service, value, product, et cetera. So that has to exist. In the case of myself and Nature's Remedy, I saw an opportunity where we had a very inefficient regulatory landscape, right? How that particular sector was being regulated throughout the country was not only inefficient, but it hadn't come to the entire East Coast yet. So I jumped in on the opportunity. I saw a first to market advantage. So number one, the market opportunity has to really exist where consumers want to deliver their dollars. Number two, that will attract the investors. So it was pretty compelling and easy for me to submit based on the regulatory and the legal changes in Massachusetts. This is going to be the very first East Coast market of this. And so I saw that first to market advantage. And so it was speed and execution. So my co-founder and I said, hey, we see this opportunity. It's going to require a lot of capital. I raised my hand and I said, hey, I think I can fill that, rather foolishly thinking I could do it easily because I had a wealth management background. And what I quickly found out was private investing, especially in that particular sector, not only was it difficult to begin with, but that sector was easily one of the hardest, which was cannabis, starting out on medical cannabis in the East Coast, that later evolved and became medical and adult use.
How did you have the courage to jump from one industry to seeing some opportunity that most people just watch go by and they don't grab it and create a $100 million exit? I mean, why do you think you were able to do that?
So I've used this term a lot. I say I'm a PhD, which is not the Ivy School education PhD, but poor, hungry, and driven. So my background is of a kid that comes from pretty humble beginnings. And I was very fortunate to have a mom that was very focused in raising me in the land of opportunity. And so I just saw an opportunity and I really tenaciously went after it. In fact, when I vet entrepreneurs that are pitching me, the thing that I look for is, hey, if you've got an Ivy League degree, great. If you come from a wealthy family, great. But my core thing that I'm focused on is walk me through your track record of success. And then I want to know the trials and tribulation in each one of those stages because I'm measuring your emotional intelligence. One of the things that I'm going to vet for the most is emotional intelligence, which has a direct connection to tenacity. Those are the people you can drop off of a helicopter anywhere in the world, and they don't need to know a single person. They don't need to have a dollar. That person will build wealth. That person will build value. That's the person you want to invest in. Here's the challenge. It's less than 1% of people out there.
Right. Yeah. Challenging. I mean, that's the type of insights that people can get at Family Office Club is listening to someone like you who maybe says some unusual things. I think that I had someone texting me this morning trying to pitch me a deal. I was explaining how our membership works and like just how it works organization. And he's like, no, you don't understand. Like we are, all signal. We make no mistakes, like capital letters, no. And I was like, well, that's kind of like probably not the best fit for us then, because if you have the attitude that you are a god and you make no mistakes, that's kind of like bottom of the ladder emotional intelligence or just awareness of common sense in business, right? So the opposite end of the spectrum, I think, is what we're getting from Michael here. Also, a lot of the family offices I deal with, it's pretty hard to have kids that have PhDs because they're by definition not poor. So, okay, you need to figure out how to make them hungry and driven some other way or make them feel poor. Any comments on that real quick?
So I went through that a bit after the exit. You know, I'd had 6-figure and 7-figure exits before, but going from a 7-figure exit to 9, it was a lot. And here's what I'll tell you. People don't talk enough about the downsides of fast wealth creation. There's a lot out there. I went through a period in my life where it was a bit of an identity crisis. I went through a period where I was distracted by not just what wealth brings in terms of options, but all the people that it brings into your room just because of the wealth. And so there really are downsides of that. And when you find someone that's done it once, a high percentage of them can't do it again because of the distractions, believe it or not. So what I'm looking for are people that have that repeat pattern and they want to keep building. And it's not because of the money. It's because they actually really care to provide value to the world, to build their investors' net worth, to actually make a change in that particular sector. So those are the things I'm looking for. They still have to have that purpose. And if they're not dialed into that purpose, they're not going to have the drive to get to that next stage. Do they still have that tenacity? So think of a UFC fighter. There's one in particular, an Irishman that I'm thinking of, Conor McGregor. My goodness, that guy knew how to market himself and get to be the best of the best. Will he ever fight again? Probably not. Given as wealthy as he is, it's hard to have that tenacity, to lock yourself into a cage and know that the guy across from you is either going to try to break your arms or elbow strike you in the eyeball or eye socket. That's like, why? He's worth $500 million now, right? So it's not always easy. Now I said 1% for the first person to do it once. It's more like 0.1% for the people that will repeat it.
Got it. Yeah, interesting. I mean, he says he'll be on the White House lawn. We'll see. But so when you think about your deal structuring, operating excellence, or your background as a black belt martial arts, like, can you talk about what really led and influenced your growth the most? I mean, is it 1,000 things, or can you point to 1 or 2 or 3 things that really contributed to your ability?
Yeah, I mean, there's a handful of things. So I spoke about tenacity and emotional intelligence. So that is, a core component that has to exist. Outside of just that, when you're identifying the opportunity, you've got to be tenacious, and timing really matters, right? So, for example, let's look at the cannabis sector. If you're getting in now, the whole industry is at an 80 to 90% discount. Okay, if you got in when I got in, it was the first time the world had an opportunity to invest in cannabis publicly traded through the Canadian Stock Exchange. I saw the opportunity. I saw that my state was going to be the first fully legal market in the East Coast. I got in. And by the way, here's the way the story goes. I was co-founder. I was also the first investor with $500,000 of my own money. I went to my wife and I said, hey, honey, here's what I want to do. She goes, oh my gosh, what if it goes to zero? I said, here's the good news. We're going to be okay. But I'm going to do everything in my power to turn that $500,000 into a heck of a lot more. It ended up being a 42x investment on my return, but that's the end of the story. This is the beginning. Maybe overconfidence, maybe arrogance. I thought I was going to sink $1 million into this opportunity, and I thought all the big investors were going to follow me. 3 months later, my $500,000 worth of lonely dollars in the bank account quickly burning down in this expensive industry to start. I called Richard and his team. In fact, it was Andres back there. Called him up. It started out as this little website chat guy. Got him on the phone. I said, hey, Andres, I've been reading, I've been watching, I'm learning about Richard. I need to talk to him. I'm interested in signing up, but I need to talk to him. 2 other people said I can't talk to him. He's too busy. But I'm open to signing up, but I need to be able to talk to him first, and I will sign up right afterwards. Andres was like, okay, let me help you out. Richard's a very busy guy. We had one conversation that was around October of that year, 2016. I became a member pretty shortly after. I was stressed. My $500,000 was down to $400,000, then $300,000, then $200,000. And I was like, whoa, I'm about to fail in this new business venture. And then I was watching all of Richard's videos. I went to all of his conferences. I went to his investor masterminds. And I found out I'm doing this all wrong. This is not the same as the public investment game. And so I started doing the things that Richard teaches and his team teaches. Next thing you know, raised over $30 million for this business. And then I just kept going. And for the first time in my life, I learned if you mix an amazing entrepreneurial opportunity and then you learn how to scale it with private investments, holy smokes, that is the simple path to building wealth. And now I'm doing it again with this investment fund called Growth Sync Capital, because what's happening right now is baby boomers right now are aged between 61 and 79. There's $1 trillion in the silver tsunami, as they call it, that's transferring hands. The average baby boomer age is 67. Guess what's the age range in which they start letting these businesses go? We're talking 20-year plus cash flowing businesses. $50 million business may be pumping out 10, 15 million in profit stabilized. These businesses are transferring now, $1 trillion a year. The average age in which they're willing to sell is 67 to 72. Guess what the average age of the baby boomer is right now, this year? 67. The next 5 years, we're going to see this massive shift of wealth from baby boomers that don't want these businesses anymore. And these businesses, they've got these relationships, they're pumping out $10 million of profit. Do you think they're doing any social media? Nope. Do you think that they even have a desire to learn how to integrate AI, the new electricity, into their businesses? Heck no. They're 69, they're working 10, 15 hours a week. They're not interested in that. But my fund is interested in buying these businesses, integrating 3 things, right? Capital, level 5 leadership, which is all about execution and proper leadership structures. And then number 3, this thing called artificial intelligence that will be the biggest game changer since the inception of mankind. And I will submit to you, the single biggest wealth creation, the biggest opportunity for private investors to ever build wealth is amongst us right now with AI.
Awesome. So Sam Altman had a video where he said that basically, if you notice, there's huge waves of startups that always group together. Like when there's a .com era or sports betting startups or crypto or AI or robotics or cannabis, et cetera, right? And so one wave that you're seeing is basically the baby boomer business sale wave, but combining that with the AI wave to basically get an edge, right? And what Michael is talking about, some people come to our events and you could come for 5 years and not meet like a massive investor. It'd be pretty surprising if you didn't meet some investors you could close deals with, but it could be that you do that. And the worst case is you come out the other side learning from hundreds of people like Michael, and now you structure deals better, your strategy's better, you can talk the family office lingo, navigate the industry better, and every meeting you go to, you're more effective because your one-liner, your deal structures and everything get you a better close rate, and you just navigate more rapidly the space, right? Or maybe, like Tyler's first event, they had a great experience, but a lot of that is up to potentially chance and how developed your offering is right now. When it comes to AI, what are some like really practical examples of how you're applying AI inside of your business? Like right now in real time, not, maybe in the future, this magical thing, but like today, what are you doing already?
There's a ton that AI can do right now, right? So there's the people and businesses that are just using AI for an advanced Google search. And then there's the ones that are creating that unfair advantage. If we go back in time, there were the businesses that said, I'm not going to touch this new thing called electricity. It's scary. People get shocked and they die. And then there was the other business that said, wow, I'm going to adopt that. We know how that story plays out. Same story today, only exponentially greater. So to answer your question, all of the businesses that I have an ownership interest right now, and I do 2 things. I mentor the entrepreneurs, and I'm in the team meetings, right? That's how I can assess what's going on from a level 5 leadership perspective. The mandate that I put out to any business I'm part of, I don't care your industry. I truly don't. But you have to be a leader in your industry in the integration of AI. You have to be. And here are some places you can do it. Sales. It used to be we had to do the sales. So let's apply this to that silver tsunami business that's doing $10 million a year, okay? That business, guess who's the sales guy that owns that business at 70 years old? It's him. Guess how much a week in sales and time in sales he's actually spending? Maybe 2 hours. Calling up his buddies, right? We equip that business with a sales bot on all social media channels, on the website, on text messages, and we actually allow the process of new revenue coming in. And then from lead nurture, from A all the way to booking the appointment or to a trial close, the chatbot can handle all of that. In the next couple of months, we'll have it available by way of voice too. And I know what you're thinking. For you sales guys in the room, it can't be that good. I thought the exact same thing. And then I saw this chatbot one Saturday morning. My partner texted me and called me like crazy and said, "You're not going to believe this. This chatbot is pretending to be me. The only thing is, it's way better at sales than me." I got on, I watched it, my jaw dropped. It was friendly, it was persuasive, it was timely, and it even made stuff up in the data that we hadn't fed it that it didn't know. So it's not always accurate. So you gotta train it properly. But here's one, Richard, from just imagine going to a silver tsunami business doing 10 million net profits a year and be like, hey, let's actually turn on sales. Hey, let's plug in social media marketing. Let's actually build a website. let's let the AI bot bring it all the way into revenue into your door. That's one. Number two, most businesses, especially the baby boomer businesses, they don't know why their revenue leaves them. They really don't. You can arm a chat bot by way of email and text messaging, and most people are responsive by way of text. And you can design that chat bot to legally interact with people without every text saying I'm an AI chatbot. It can be baked into the legals when you onboard those clients. But when that revenue leaves you, that AI chatbot can actually find the real reasons why. You can create a real dashboard, a real life dashboard that shows all of your KPIs, your analytics in your business. And you can actually show, hey, here's the weak points in your business. The AI will do this. It'll aggregate the data. It'll show you in the way of dashboard. And then it'll go a level further. Richard, we recommend you fine-tune this aspect because you're losing 20% of your revenue because they're not showing from that sales funnel from set to scene. Let's just add this confirmation process, and guess what? You're going to see a 20% bump in sales. So those are just a handful. I could talk about this for hours, actually.
Yeah, it makes sense. One of the most useful cases we've found, our team has used over 800 times now, is we have a AI co-pilot trained on over 500 phone call transcripts, and then all of our website and all of our AI tools, et cetera. So when my team's on a call, they can say, Sarah just called in, raising capital for medical practice. How can we help her most? And it goes through all of our recorded videos in the portal, all of our offerings, all of our AI tools. And while the salesperson is thinking what to say, the AI tool scripts out what they could say. And then that way, it's still a human, but they have this second brain kind of rattling down all the little facts and minutiae you might not be able to remember in real time. But beyond AI, what if you had to bet on the next big mega theme in private investing, what would it be?
So a lot of times when I say AI, people think about investing right in NVIDIA or Tesla or these big conglomerates. Okay, yes, think about OpenAI, right? Investing in OpenAI, et cetera. That was like the boulder that dropped in the water, and that ripple effect, right? If the whole world is the body of water, it's now going in every industry around the world. So for those of you in the room, I don't care if you're in real estate. I don't care if you're in fitness, gym, whatever it may be. My advice to you is follow that ripple in your industry and be a leader in it. Simple, right? If your business is mobile home parks, great. Let me find a way to integrate AI and be the leader in mobile home parks and AI. If it's whatever your industry is, every one of my businesses, that's the mandate. Now, what you're going to find is there's a ton of different ways to invest in your own businesses or invest in the AI solutions that are popping up in all these industries. It's a race in every single one of your industries. And it's going to be the biggest wealth creation in to date since you've lived.
Awesome. Yeah, one of my mentors, Eben Pagan, taught me that sometimes you might feel like and know that you're a level 8 or level 10 entrepreneur, but you're stuck inside of a level 6 business or level 2 business. Like it's just not the right opportunity or business for you. Maybe this is a way to kind of give it an edge, do something unique. Watching these waves of change, Warren Buffett says the tide matters more than the swimmer sometimes, right? Like you can be this average swimmer, but if you're on the right tide and the right spot at the right time, it took a conscious effort and risk on your part, right? And so that's super interesting to think through. So I just have 2 more questions here. What advice would you give centimillionaires, family offices, decamillionaires here today who want to back entrepreneurs like you? What should they look for in the operator, not just the business that you haven't mentioned yet?
I mean, if I had to boil it down to 2 to 3 things, one would be integrity. my goodness, I've been pitched by so many people and found so many things not to be true. So number one, when you find that integrity, that's absolutely key. And then number two, kind of the intersection of emotional intelligence and tenacity, right? That's key. And then the third thing is a consistent and repeatable track record of success. Is this the person that we could drop in a helicopter anywhere in the world and they're just going to find a way to do two things, provide value to the world and make money? That's the person you want to invest in.
Awesome. Yeah, one thing that I've heard you say, and now Kevin Harrington from Shark Tank, who you met here at one of our events, ended up joining your board and investing with you, et cetera, often repeats and quotes you on, is just the high velocity entrepreneur aspect, which goes along with everything you just said, track record and emotional IQ, et cetera.
Absolutely. And I know we're at time, so I'm just going to say one quick thing about Richard and Family Office Club. I promise he did not pay me to say this, but this is really, really true.
I already like it.
If you're looking to build wealth, if you're looking to raise capital, if you're looking to build a business, I did all of those things and I learned how to do it right here. Never in my wildest dreams that I think it would have turned into building and selling and capitalizing a business that was an idea, and then it was sold for $104 million in 3.5 years. And then along that journey, because of Richard and the team, me learning those skills, I became partners with one of the sharks from Shark Tank. And now the opportunities I get across my desk are very, very different. So for those of you that are where I was 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, I joined at the beginning of 2017, late 2016. Keep going, be tenacious, stay focused, implement the learnings, and surround yourself with the right people, and you're going to be just fine.
Awesome. I appreciate that. We, I started the business in Boston and I had less money in my bank account than I had due for rent that month. I had no investors, no backers.
Love it.
And everything I've built up was from just learning from people like you. So definitely appreciate you spending your time here today. For those of you who have been to Boston a lot, I started, the business in my sweatpants in a Boloco burrito shop with the free Wi-Fi, and it would smell like burritos by the end of the day. And it worked out from learning from people just like you. So last question here real quick is that if we fast forwarded a decade, what would people be saying about entrepreneurs and investors who embraced AI early versus those who resisted and said, oh, this isn't real. It's not worth it. None of this stuff works.
So, you said a decade. This is a bold comment. Entrepreneurism and capitalism could be dead in 10 to 15 years. That's a real thing that's going on right now. Listen to the Silicon Valley experts. And what I'll tell you is the next 10 to 15 years may be the last major wealth grab. So go the heck after it now. The world will look so different in 15 years from now. I cannot stress that point enough. If you're focused and you do the right thing, you can build the wealth that will last you and your family a lifetime and multiple generations now. And it's never been easier. But after that time, it'll be done. We're going to have 2 wealth classes, right? Those 2 wealth classes are going to be the ultra wealthy for the most part and universal basic income. Not a political statement. It's just going to come out of necessity. Not sure if I answered that question, but
yeah, all of the AI nerds that I follow, they either do not have an answer, pretend not to predict, or say there has to be universal income because so many people are going to be replaced by AI. They won't need to work. They'll be doing arts and video games and virtual reality and who knows what. But in physics, they say action is perception. Like by taking action on a new niche like you did, you learn in real time and then the path unfolds. And Elon says that speed is the ultimate weapon. And so like moving quick is more valuable now than it used to be, and being confident and having the courage to move on your business plans by talking to peers and learning from people like Michael, I think really helps. So we're a little bit over on time. Was there any last comment you wanted to make before we break?
I was just going to comment on what Elon said, who's my favorite billionaire, by the way. And you just said that the speed, say that again, Richard?
Speed is the ultimate weapon in business.
If speed is the ultimate weapon, which I agree, and would certainly played a role in my exit at the right time by being speedy. What I'll tell you is AI is the rocket thruster to create that speed. If you're not learning AI, you're making a big mistake.
Right. Yeah, totally. Agreed. Awesome. Let's give him a big round of applause. Thank you.